Hi everybody, welcome back to DayZ, and in this video tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to install the absolutely amazing and probably essential HunterZ's Ambient Animals Pack for PC DayZ community servers. I'm going to show you how to install it on a local server first, and then we're going to show you how to install it on a remote community server, and in this example it's going to be Nitrado, and you'll find the timestamp links in the description below this video, as also you will find the links to the relevant files. So there'll be a link to the Steam Workshop page, and also what I've done is to make the installation slightly easier, I've created a GitHub repository and a mega repository in case one of the others isn't working, where I kind of bring together some of the files so that it's a little bit easier to install. So what is the Ambient Animals Pack? Well, what it is HunterZ has brought together his ambient animal stuff that he's done. So it brings together his otters, his rabbits, his rats, his ravens, his seagulls, and his snakes, and his squirrels, all into one place, all into one mod. And I think this is now probably one of the first mods that you should install on a community PC server after you've installed your admin stuff, because your server won't be overgrown or overthrown or overrun with animals. But what does happen is every now and again, you know, just like with hens, you'll be wandering along and there'll be a rabbit, or you'll look up and there'll be a seagull or a raven, or you might even get bitten by a snake. There's not loads of them, but there's enough just every now and again to go, oh, that's interesting, that's nice. And obviously with some of them as well, you can kill them and you can cook them and you can eat them. So absolutely fantastic work from HunterZ, top-notch stuff. So without further ado, let's get started. So as with all things to do with DayZ PC mods, it starts off in the workshop and you'll want to subscribe to the mods. And what you'll notice is that there's no dependencies, so absolutely fantastic that we've got no dependencies. And then what we need to do then is we're going to be installing on a local server. So I'm going to kind of assume you've installed a local server. If you're intrigued by this idea and you want to install your own local server, I'll put a link in the description below this video with my video on how to set one up. Basically, a local server is just a local instance of a DayZ server which you can run and you can test. And if you install things on a local server on your local PC first, when you run into problems, it's a lot easier and quicker to sort them out than on a community server. So you can get all your installations sorted out, you can check your compatibility with other mods, and when it's working, you can then upload it to your community server and you'll have a lot less hassles and it will happen a lot quicker. So first thing we need to do is copy the mod across. So when you open up the DayZ launcher, it will then download any new mods that you're subscribed to, and then if you just find the Ambient Animals Pack and click on the little arrow next to it and then click on the three dots and go to open folder in Windows Explorer, just say I understand, that will then open up the folder where the shortcuts to all your mods are. They're not actually here, but for all intents and purposes they are here. So all we're going to do is we just want to copy that, and then what you'll want to do is you want to go to the folder where your DayZ server is. In my particular case, on my computer, it's under C, Program Files, x86, Steam, Steam Apps, Common, DayZ Server. Generally, it's in the same folder as your DayZ folder as it is there. Then here we just want to right-click, paste, and as you can see, we've got the Ambient Animals Pack. Next thing we want to do is just go into it. We want to go into the keys folder, and you just want to copy the key out, and then you'll want to go into the keys folder for your local server, and then you'll want to right click, paste that, and if you've already got one of HunterZ mods installed already, it will say replace the key. And the key is just a way that the server knows that any clients that are attaching into it, they're running the same mods. So now we've done that, we need to edit the batch file. So this is the file that starts your local server. What you'll notice here is that I have different Windows batch files, .bat files, for different combinations of mods. So that I can start, for example, DayZ Expansion or DayZ Dog, or in this case, if we look down here, we've got DayZ with Zombie on Chernarus with Vanilla++ and Ambient Animals. So if you open up your batch file, and then it might look a little bit different to this, but you want to find the start line, and then in the start line you'll have the mods section. And as you can see on this one, we've got community framework, zombie admin tools, VPP admin tools, and then you put a semicolon in, and then you put at ambient space animals space pack, and it's finished off with the quotation marks or the inverted commas. So that's then telling the server, when you start, please start with these particular mods in place. Now what we need to do is we need to edit the mission files, and this is where my extra GitHub repository comes in a little bit handy. If we actually go into the mod itself, HunterZ has supplied these things. So if we go into it, you can see what we've got here is we've got add-ons. So if you go into add-ons, you've got all the things that actually make the mod work, and then you've got your keys. And then if you go into, for example, otter territories, you've got the different territories. So this is how the server knows where the animal should be. So it's lots of coordinates basically. And we're going to be concentrating on Chernarus for this particular purposes. So you've got otter territories there. And we put that in the env folder on our server, but I'll be showing you that in a sec. And then you get the ambient otter readme. So if we go into here, what this does, it tells you the code snippets that you need to add to the cfg environments.config mission file for the otter to spawn in properly. But the problem is that you've got to do this for every single animal. So you've got to go in, you've got to open it and close and all this sort of stuff. So it's a little bit of a pain. So what I've done is I've created a GitHub repository where I have taken all the instructions for each individual animal and put them in one file. They're in this ambient animals readme.txt. And also I've put all the territories files here as well, because they're in one place. They're easier to put onto your server. Let me show you though, probably the easiest way is to show you. So if you click on the code button on my repository and go download zip, or on my Mega you can go in and you can download each individual file as well. If you download that to your computer and then unzip it, you'll end up with something like this. Okay, so you've got the ambient animals readme. Now if we edit this with Notepad++, so what this basically includes is the little snippets that you need to add to your CFG environment.xml file and your events.xml file and your types.xml file for everything to work. But if you want to, the easiest way to install it is if you just take the CFG environment file here, if you just copy that, then go to your server, go into the missions, go into DayZ Offline Chernarus Plus, and then you just paste that there. There we go. And then we open this up. What I've done is that then puts all of those instructions there into place, and then it puts all of the other instructions as well. So it's all done for you. So it's very, very easy. And then the other thing you can do is you can just take all of the territories files. So you can just left click and then shift left click. You can just copy that, and then in your mission, if you go into the env folder and you just paste that, they're all pasted there. So it takes a big chunk out of what you have to do. So if we go back to the readme like this, so that way your CFG environment.xml is ready to go. CFG environments.config is ready to go, and your territories files are all ready to go. Now we still need to edit the types though. However, if we are in sort of 2024 when you're watching this video, and Bohemia Interactive have added more animals to the game, it may be you'll want to install each of these code snippets individually. In that case, what you'll do is you'll open up your cfg environments.config file, and then you just follow these instructions and you add that bit at the top, and then underneath ambient hem you add all the other stuff that's here. Now if we scroll down though, you then get to the events. Now this is the stuff we do have to do manually. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to our server, and then we're going to go into the DB directory, and then we're just going to open up events like so, and then we go back to Notepad++, and then we're just going to copy all of these events here. Ooh, gone too far. There we go. So you copy it all the way down to where it says add to types.xml. You copy that, go into your event, and then you paste it in. As you can see, I've already done it all here. And they're already done. And then the next file you want to open up on your server is you want to open up your types.xml. And then in the readme, you then want to go to types.xml. And you just want to scroll down. So you've copied all of that. Go to your types.xml, and then you will paste it. You can paste it at the top underneath. So underneath there, you can type it there. As you can see, I've already done it. You have to do the types because this makes stuff spawn in, and it also makes stuff. It makes stuff have the ability to spawn in, and it also makes stuff hang around as well over server restart. So, for example, if you didn't have the types setting, things like the meat that you get from when you kill one of these animals would disappear. And the events, along with the territories file, this is the thing that fires the animals to actually appear, along with the CFG environment file as well. Actually, it's CFG environment.xml, isn't it? Now, when you've done that, we've done all the necessary things, so make sure you would save those files, and then if your local server is already running, stop it, and then restart it, and you'll be good to go. Before we move on to the remote server, though, I just want to talk about how these files work. So when Hunter calls these ambient animals, that's quite important to understand, because the way that animals spawn in DayZ it can be different depending on what they are. The easiest way to think about it is think about it in terms of the hens, say, and the wolves. So the hens, when you're wandering around a town, you'll hear a hen, won't you? And it'll start clucking away, and you'll go and find it maybe, and you'll kill it, and then you'll cook it, and you'll eat it. And the way that they spawn in is they will only ever spawn in as a player is approaching the area where the event should be. So they don't exist if there's no players nearby. So there's no hens on the map when there's no players on the map. And also, there's a hen spawn in Chernarus. If there's no players in Chernarus, there's no hen there. Other things, though, like wolves and bears, aren't ambient. They spawn in anyway. So as you're wandering around, for example, Chernarus, and that hen appears, up by Tizzy, there will be a bear, and it will be wandering around with its mate. And what this means is when it comes to testing your server, these ambient animals can be quite difficult to test for, because in order for them to appear, you need to be close to where their spawn is. But in fact, you can't be on top of it, because it won't spawn, because the animals won't just appear in front of you. You need to be about 250 meters away, and then you approach it, and then that will give the animal a chance to spawn. The only exception to this in this particular mod is the snakes, because the snakes spawn in normally. They're actually not an ambient animal. The snake is actually, here we go. The snake is actually, it spawns in as an animal anyway, so that they spawn in the same way that wolves and bears do. So bear that in mind when it comes to testing. If you go into something like Vanilla++ admin tools and go into the XML checker and look for, say, the seagull, unless you are near one of their spawn points, there'll be no seagulls, and you may well think it's not working properly, but it probably is. So the way that I test it, for example, is I would go into the env folder like this and go to, say, the rabbits, and then you just take one of the coordinates, and then you can put that into something like the iSurvive map. Don't spawn in dead on those coordinates, spawn in a little bit further away, and then turn on the live view so you can see where all the goodies are in VP+ admin. Then as you walk towards that particular area, you'll then see all the loot start to spawn in, and you'll see in this case a rabbit will probably spawn in. And then you can test it that way. Okay, so that's how we do it on a local server. What we'll do now is we will install Ambient Animals Pack on a remote PC server. So again, first things first, you just want to subscribe to the mod so that it downloads. And then what we're going to do is we're going to upload all those files to our remote server. So I'm using FileZilla as my FTP program. And so if you're not quite sure where the workshop folder is on your computer, again, what you can do is in the DayZ launcher, if you click on the little 3 dots next to any mod and go to Open Folder in Windows Explorer, that will then appear. Then if you left click at the top in this line here, that then gives you the address on your computer where the workshop folder is. So you can right click that, copy that, go back to your FTP program, and where it says local site, if you just left click there and paste it on top, that will take you to where your workshop folder is, and then we can open this up. I've already connected to my remote server, so it's all here. So you can see, it should look fairly familiar by now. You've got your add-ons there, your missions files are there. And all I would do is just go to Ambient Animals Pack, make sure that is clicked, right click and upload that. Now I've already done it. It's a fairly big mod, so it might take a minute or so to upload. Then the next thing we want to do is we want to open up here, go into the keys, and open up the keys folder on our server, and we just want to upload the key. Again, if it's already on the server, like it's in this case, it may well say, uh-oh, why have you done that? And you just say, OK. And so that's now uploaded into that place. Now what we need to make sure we do is that we need to make sure that our server starts with the mod. So in this case, we're using Nitrado, but I'm just going to go to the general settings. And if I scroll down, you'll have this somewhere on your server. If you've got access to the .bat file, you probably know what you're doing anyway. But on something like Nitrado, in the additional mod section, we just got to make sure we add, after a semicolon, at Ambient Animals Pack. And that's the command that means when the server does a restart, it knows that it should restart with that particular mod running. Then what we want to do is, once we've done that, you want to save that, and then we probably just want to stop the server. Because what we need to do now is we need to edit the mission files. Now, if you go into the mod, what you'll find is you have all the territories for the different animals. And if you go into them, you'll see, in this case, we're going to be working with Chernarus. But you've got to go into Chernarus, then you've got otter territories. And you also have the otter readme. So if we open this with Notepad++, this has individual instructions for the otter on how to add the otter code snippets to the CFG environment.xml and to your events.xml and to your types.xml. But the problem is you've got to do that for each particular animal, which is a bit of a pain. So what I've done is on my GitHub repository, I've put all these together in one file into the Ambient Animals readme.txt. So you can just copy and paste them. But what I've also done is I've also put a CFG environment.xml. So this is 1.23 compatible, so as of the end of December 2023. So you can actually just upload the CFG environment.xml to your server, and that will do all of that legwork. Now, we also have to upload all of the territories, but because I've put them in one place, it's very easy to do. The only thing we've got to do manually is edit the events.xml, and then we've got to edit the types.xml. Or if you're watching this video, you know, it's sometime in 2024, and Bohemia Interactive have added more animals to DayZ, then you're going to want to do things individually. But if we just download the zip, or on Mega you can download the individual files. When you download those, you'll end up with this here, Ambient Animals. So as you can see, we've got a ready-to-go CFG environment, and then we've got all the territories. If we open up the Ambient Animals README, though, so we can have a quick look at that, what this is it's the individual code snippets that you'll need to add to your CFG environments.xml. Oh, is it CFG environments.config? What's he put there? Let's have a quick look. CFG, yeah, it's an XML. CFG environments, isn't it? .xml. Here we go. That you can add as you're going along. So, for example, what you would do is if we open up if we go in here. So on your server, if you go into your missions folder, and then you go into Chernarus Plus, and then if we go into CFG environment.xml, most editors will be able to do this. You just right click it and view edit it, and it's going to download it to your local computer and then open it up in the particular in your favorite text editor that you've got set. What we can now do is we could then copy these bits as per the instructions, and then we would paste them there. As you can see, I've already done it. And then what you could do as well is you then copy all of this like that, and you would paste that in there. As you can see, I've already copied them, pasted them in. So you could do that as well, and then you would save that and upload it, and that would do the same thing. However, because I've already got these files good to go, one thing you can do that makes this very easy is if you go to the file browser on your community server, and then just go DayZ standalone, and then go into the missions, and then Chernarus plus, and then go. So there's CFG environment. We couldn't just go upload file, and we could find where I've downloaded them to, which is here, and we could just upload that CFG environment, hit open. That would then be there, and then that work is already done for you. And then even easier, if you go to the env directory, so this has got all the territories. If you go upload file and then go into where you've got them here, we can then just take all of these files, click open, I'll cancel it though, and then it will upload them all in one go. And this saves you a lot of time going backwards and forwards with HunterZ files, which can be a little bit frustrating. So we've done that. However, we can't get away from the fact that we need to edit the types.xml, and we need to edit the events.xml. So if you open up your DB directory, and then you open up your types.xml, like so. Here it comes. And then if you just go into the Ambient Animals readme.txt, I should have probably done events first, but types are down the bottom, but that's fine. Just get to the bits that says add these to your type. So add to types.xml anywhere. So we would just copy that, go to our types, paste it in. As you can see here, I've already done it, but what we'll do, let's just add something just so I can show you what happens next. Let's just do that so we can save that. So once you've pasted that in, you go back to your FTP program and say there's been a change, do you want me to upload that? And you just say yes, and that will upload that. And then what you can do is you can then close that types.xml. And then what you want to do is you want to open up your events.xml, like so. And then we go back to the Ambient Animals README again. We go a little bit further up. And we just look to the bit that says put these into your events. There we go. So all the way to the bit that says add to types. Copy that, go to our events, paste them in. As you can see, I've already done it. You go back to FileZilla or whatever you're using. You say there's been a change, you want to upload it, and you say yes, and you upload it there. And then that's it, you're ready to go. All you need to do now is go back to your server, restart the server, and you'll have the amazing ambient animals wandering around. But as I say, the way that these work is that everything apart from the snake is an ambient animal, so it doesn't spawn in until a player is approaching the animal spawn point. So unlike, say, wolves and bears, which you can just do an XML search using something like Vanilla++ admin tools, and you'll see where all the bears are or all the cows are on your particular server, things like the otters and the seagulls and the ravens and the rabbits and the rats don't appear. The only way to test whether it's working or not is to grab one of the coordinates from one of the territories file, put that into, say, one of the map program. So you can use what do I use? Say iSurvive. Put the coordinates into there, and then what you can then do is then approach that area on foot or in a vehicle, it doesn't really matter, but from a couple of 100 meters away, and that will then trigger the ambient animal to spawn in, and then you can test it. So then you could use something like the the ability to see loot in Vanilla Plus, you know, the X-ray sort of thing, and then you can have a look round for the rabbit or whatever that's there. The birds are easy to see because they're up in the sky, and then you can see it's working that way. But I have tested these files on my local PC, and I've tested it on my remote community server, and they work fine. And although your server, as I said before, won't become overrun with animals, they're common enough that you run into the odd one, or you hear one, and you're like, oh, this is quite cool, this. And I think it's an excellent mod. And as I say, I think after you've installed your admin mods, I think probably this should be the most important mod you put on. I wouldn't be surprised if a few of these get taken into the vanilla version of DayZ, because they did have hares, I think, originally, but they're very nice. The fact you can see a seagull or a raven in the sky every now and again is quite cool, or a rat scuttling around a town, or a squirrel in the countryside, or the hissing of a snake is very, very good indeed. So anyway, well done to HunterZ for producing this amazing mod, to bringing all these ambient animals together. And if you found the video useful, hit like. If you want to see more, the same, press subscribe, and I will of course see you again soon.